Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. Now, the content that I'm going to show you this morning is coming straight out of California, and the reason that I want to hit this is in the light of the Bruin decision affecting the Benitez decision for AR bans. You're starting to see what the left is truly afraid of, and you're starting to really boil it down their entire ethos and how it's going to fail here. This is crucial, and it's a step of how we're going to win. Everything is linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think on this and whether you agree, disagree, or you think I've landed this plane. And if you are new or a returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you turn the notification bell on. We need as many people as we can to get into the fold with us to help pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation and beat people just like this. And today's content is brought to you by SDI. Now, I know a lot of you out there like to modify and upgrade your own guns, and if you're looking to turn a hobby into a career, Sonoran Desert Institute can help. Their online programs cover everything from armorer courses, ballistics, woodworking and finishes, shooting sports management, and more, plus all the tools and materials are shipped directly to your door. There's never been a better time to turn that hobby into a career, so what are you waiting for? There's a link in the description box below, and thank you so much to SDI for making this content possible because we can talk about this. Now, the big thing out of California, and something that I've said on this channel for a while, is the more states that enact and adopt the assault weapons bans, the more they make themselves a very tasty target for the Supreme Court to take up that argument. And that's the worst thing that could possibly happen for a gun controller, because if you look at the Bruin decision, the Heller decision, the Miller decision, the McDonald decision, all four of the gun control apocalypse decisions, you see that they don't want more cases in the Supreme Court. So they're trying to carefully tread and not go too far. They may have done so here. Check this out because it reveals their entire ethos. This is important to understand. Thanks to the Supreme Court, California gun cases hinge more on history than modern threats. Now I'm going to keep going. That's just the introduction. This first segment here, this is important, okay? Check this out. This came out on the 7th, which would be today. To best understand California's desire to uphold its bans on assault weapons and high-capacity ammunition magazines, consider recent history, and it goes down the list of terrible instances that happened in California, all underneath gun control. But this is it boiled down in a nutshell. Check this out. However, in the high-stakes legal battles currently being waged over California's bans in federal court, where decisions are anticipated soon, America's gruesome history with the powerful weapons hasn't been the focus. Now they're talking about assault weapons or ARs. Instead, lawyers for the state and gun rights groups seeking to overturn the bans have been arguing over the relevance of much older laws governing very different weapons right there. The left is upset because the modern threat of new firearms is something that they have to curtail and control. But now they're upset because they're going through older cases and older history where the Second Amendment was not infringed because it's not supposed to be. And they're talking about very different weapons. That's it. They see old, very different weapons as something that shouldn't have had to be regulated because it was very old. Technology hadn't kept up. But this new stuff, this newfangled things, these need to be regulated. That's where they're going to fail because it's the exact same principle. They're focusing on the technology of the unit. They're not focusing on the Second Amendment. That is why we are going to win in time, because they're making a brutal mistake and it's all they can do. The Bruin decision has put them into a corner. Let's keep going because this is really important stuff. In the case over the assault weapons ban, recent filings have focused on a New Jersey law enacted in 1771 that prohibited people from setting up trap guns to fire at animals or intruders who tripped a rope. So they're actually using an example of a law in New Jersey that said you can't booby trap a door with a firearm. It's a little bit different than completely regulating an entire platform from the Second Amendment rights. Isn't that a little bit different? That's the level of desperation they're in. You aren't going to hear that in a lot of places, but let's keep going. In the case over high-capacity magazines, part of the focus has been on New York law enacted in 1784 that limited to 28 pounds of ammunition of gunpowder, the amount of gunpowder that could be stored in one place in New York. So they're going after booby traps in New Jersey and storage of 28 pounds of gunpowder in New York. They've got nothing, and they know it, because their whole thing, and that's the reason I'm doing this video, they are not focusing on the Second Amendment as a whole. What they're doing is they're focusing on older technology which didn't need to be regulated and newer technology that does. They're splitting hairs. They're not focusing on the Second Amendment, which is why they're going to lose, particularly as this continues down the road and ends up again at the Supreme Court, which it will. While leaving space for restrictions with historical precedent, such as those against particularly dangerous and unusual weapons, that's really important. The ruling nonetheless exploded modern American jurisprudence around gun control. It forced judges to start disregarding current government interest in passing modern gun control measures and had them focus instead on whether the framers of the U.S. Constitution or some other long-dead lawmakers had ever approved similar governmental limits on the right to bear arms. That's the entire point. It doesn't matter if they've been dead 100 years. It doesn't matter if they've been dead 1,000 years. The point is, the Second Amendment is part of the Constitution of when it was enacted, you cannot infringe upon the Second Amendment. That's the whole point. So over the last 100 years, since 1934, when the National Firearms Act came into place, they've been incrementally increasing through a progressive approach to curtail gun rights of the population. It's been a slow, incremental design. We covered on Second Legacy with Tim all the time. They are having to face the hard reality that the incrementalism has now put them in a place where they can't justify it anymore because the SCOTUS caught up. That's the important piece. And the dangerous and unusual weapons part is something that they try to put ARs into, even though ARs are well known as common use items across the board. This is why they're going to lose in the long run. Let's keep going. I got one more thing for you. The state argued that its assault weapons ban, which has stood for 3 decades, restricts a specific category of weapons that are particularly dangerous. There it is again. Incorporates substantial technological advances from past weaponry, see what I'm saying? Old and new. Represent a relatively small portion of guns owned in America. It's the most popular rifle in the United States, so that's a lie. And designed more for military-style offensive firing than self-defense, and have played an outsized role in the devastating modern phenomenon of mass situations. When every single person knows that the dramatic impact on gun violence of rifles is minimal. It is minuscule. In fact, hands, feet, bludgeons, and knives do more damage on an annual basis, according to the FBI, than rifles do, of all types. We have the sound footing. We have the Second Amendment. We have everything solid. We're going to win this in the end. We just need to stay the course. And that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know if I landed that plane. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.